Hey everybody, Nick here. Hope everybody's doing well. It's 4th of July weekend and we still have nothing on the Halloween Kills news front. In fact, you could say, based on the fact that other movies are getting delayed and pushed back and things like that, you could make a case that it's not looking good for Halloween Kills as far as coming out in October. But we'll see what happens. Ever the optimist. I'm going to hold out hope here and hope that we still get it. But I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about the trailer. I don't want to talk about the poster. I don't want to talk about any of that shit because I'm tired of talking about that. Let's be positive. Let's talk about what I'm most excited about to see in Halloween Kills. So before I get to that, just wanted to say that I appreciate everyone that watches my videos. I get all kinds of comments. You guys are so fucking nice, and I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Going to be having a lot of content coming out here in the near future. A few videos a week at least. So yeah, let's get into it. The top 10 things I'm most excited about for Halloween Kills. Starting right off at number 10 is going to be the relationship between Tommy and Lindsey. Now look, we don't know anything that happened with these characters at least, between 1978 and the 2018 timeline. They could have been friends for a while. They could have, broken off. There could have been, there's all kinds of possibilities. Hell, they could be married. I hope not. But I'm curious to see, I'm actually excited to see where they're going to take that. The possibilities are endless, like I said. One of them could have PTSD. Both of them could have PTSD. One of them could be, just thinking about, or, living like it never happened. So it'll be very curious. They should have a bond based on going through what they went through, at the age that they went through on that fateful night in 1978. So I'm very curious to see what they do with that relationship. So that's number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be, this is kind of a spoiler, kind of not, is going to be Dr. Loomis. It's basically confirmed that Loomis is back in the flashback, and just like Tommy and Lindsey's relationship, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with him. I've talked about this before. They could have a voice actor and show a side view of the trench coat, chasing down Myers after shooting him 6 times, maybe saving Lonnie in the flashback, because we know Lonnie's going to be in the flashback running into the shape. So I'm very curious to see what they do with Loomis. It's dangerous for me, but I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I hope they don't fuck up his character. It's dangerous, like I said. You don't want to divulge too much. You don't want to CGI him, de-age, whatever you call it. I wouldn't do that, but we'll see what they do. So I'm excited, though. As much as, I say you don't want to fuck this up, I am excited. So that's number 9. Number 8 is something that I don't want to see, but I know as a realist we're probably going to see it. So fuck it, I'm excited to see it, and that's going to be how Michael escapes Laurie's burning house, because for all intents and purposes this is going to be a badass scene of him killing firefighters with the house ablaze behind him, grabbing that halogen bar, maybe impaling a firefighter against a wall as the wall's on fire. Endless badass opportunities. So as much as I don't want to see it, just as a purist, as far as Michael's character goes, it's going to be cool to see, and I know they're going to show it, so I'm excited to see it. Next up is going to be the Myers house. Once again, a lot of opportunities here. Could go many directions. I'm fairly certain it's going to be in the flashback for sure. Whether it's where Michael goes and where they catch him remains to be seen. And from what I've heard, I don't want to divulge my sources because I don't know what to trust, and I'm obviously not going to say too much. But from what I've heard, it's both in the flashback and present day. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, whether they do a Halloween 2 1981 where you have the whole town throwing rocks there. I really liked that scene from Halloween 2, so I wouldn't mind an homage to that. But I'm excited to see the Myers house. We haven't seen the Myers house for all intents and purposes since, well, I guess Resurrection, and I guess Halloween 6, but for my taste, that Halloween 2 scene is the last time we kind of saw the abandoned Myers house, because Resurrection was Resurrection. So yeah, the Myers house, I'm excited to see that. Next is going to be Marion Chambers. Any insight she can have into Dr. Loomis, I'm very excited to see. I've talked about this before. I'm going to go ahead and assume that her and Loomis had some kind of relationship after the events of 1978, and she can kind of divulge things that Loomis said after that night. So I'm very excited to see what she has to say. I hope they don't divulge too much because you don't want to talk too much about what Michael is and his backstory and all that jazz. But I'm excited to see what she's going to have to say. So next up, the fifth thing I'm most excited for is going to be Sheriff Brackett and him hopefully having an exchange with Laurie. I want to see Brackett have a conversation with Laurie, probably in the hospital. It'll be, because it looks like Brackett's probably a security guard there. So I really want to see him and Laurie have a conversation. He's back. He killed my Annie. Anything like that. I'm very excited to see that. Brackett was a big character in the original Halloween. We have no idea what he's been up to since Annie was killed 40 years earlier. Laurie obviously kind of turned into I don't want to say a raving lunatic, but she was obsessed with Myers. Brackett had to have some kind of obsession with Myers too. So I'd be very curious to see what kind of dialogue happens between Brackett and Laurie. Fourth thing I'm most excited to see is Tommy seeing the shape again. Tommy obviously has a unique relationship with Myers. He's the one that was warning Laurie about the boogeyman. He saw him in my favorite shot in cinema history of Michael standing across the street in the darkness. Tommy saw that and freaked out a little bit. So I can't wait to see the look on Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy's face when he sees the shape again. Could be a small moment, could be a huge moment, but I'm excited to see that because Tommy is obviously a huge character in the original. Third thing I'm most excited about to see is Michael Myers' mask. One thing they nailed in Halloween 2018 was the look of the mask. I think it was Christopher Nelson who designed the mask, knocked it out of the park. Well, now you have the same mask that could have some fire damage. So I'm curious to see how they do that. I don't want it half burned off like in, or half cut off, burned off, whatever, like in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But it's got to obviously have some fire damage, and I think that they're really gonna do a good job with it. I trust after 2018. There's a lot of things. I had a lot of issues with that movie. One thing I trust them with now is the mask, which is something I've never been able to say since 1981. So yeah, I'm very curious, very excited to see what they're gonna do with that. The second thing I am most excited to see is, in my opinion, this is just a theory, but the death of Lonnie Elam. I think Lonnie's going to have a fucking brutal death, and I can't wait to see it. From what we probably gather, or at least I probably gather, Michael's going to be on a little bit of a rampage, so to speak, in this movie. And I am excited to see him kill Lonnie. Because Lonnie was kind of a bully in the original Halloween. He's a kid, Some kids are bullies. They change, blah, blah, blah. But we know that he's the dad of Cameron, who was dating Allison. So I'm excited to see whether he sacrifices himself in a redemptive moment or what. I think he's going to die, and I think he's going to have a brutally painful death. And I'm very excited to see that. So that comes in at number 2. And the number one thing I am most excited for, I'm going to give you guys a second to see if you can guess what it is. The number one thing I am most excited for is the return of Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. The reason I'm most excited for this is I am a huge fan of Halloween 2 1981. I love the vibe, the atmosphere, the creepiness of that hospital, and I am excited to see it play a role in the Halloween universe once again. I don't think it's going to play as big of a role as it did in Halloween 2 1981, but I don't really give a shit. They got the logo back. Laurie's probably going there, from what we gather, and I am so excited to see it. So, that being said, I want to hear what you guys are most excited for about this movie. Obviously, I know we all want a trailer. We all want a poster. We all want this movie to come out in a couple months. We don't know when that's all going to happen, so let's try and be positive here for now. and tell me what you're excited to see. Is it anything on my list? What did I leave off? We all got different tastes in Halloween films, so I really value your guys' opinions. So let me know what you see. Or let me know what you see. Let me know what you're excited for. And go ahead, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be pumping out a lot of new shit, like I said. Thanks for watching, guys.